Gates open at Arapahoe Park on the eve of horse racing history. American Pharoah bids to become the first Triple Crown winner since 1978 in the Belmont Stakes. We'll examine what it takes to accomplish one of the most difficult feats in sports by taking a look back at when Secretariat and his Colorado owner Penny Chenery won the Triple Crown in 1973. 40 plus years later, it remains horse racing's most mesmerizing moment. We're showing you the behind the scenes of horse racing and some of sport's most majestic athletes. So get a leg up, come on to the track, and be ready for the start, because the horses are at the post. Welcome to a behind the scenes look of horse racing. I'm Jonathan Horowitz, the announcer at Arapahoe Park. The Triple Crown is the most prestigious series for horse racing, and this year's Triple Crown will wrap up on Saturday with the Belmont Stakes, a race first run in 1867 at Belmont Park in New York. The Triple Crown had its traditional start this year on the first Saturday in May with the Kentucky Derby from Churchill Downs in Louisville, then the middle jewel in the Preakness at Pimlico Racecourse in Baltimore. American Pharoah won both races. So on Saturday, the eyes of horse racing and the sports world will be on the Belmont and American Pharoah's bid for Triple Crown glory, and you can follow all the action from Arapahoe Park, where the live racing will be highlighted by the Speed of Quarter Horse Championship races, and the simulcast racing will feature the Belmont, one of thoroughbred racing's greatest tests of stamina. Although all three races in the Triple Crown date back to the 19th century, only 11 horses have swept them, the last to do it being affirmed in 1978. The Triple Crown in horse racing is arguably the hardest accomplishment in sports, harder than Triple Crown in baseball, harder than a Grand Slam in tennis or golf. One of the reasons is that a horse only has one shot to do it in his life, since the Triple Crown is restricted to 3-year-old horses. There's no "we'll try again next year." Historically, the marquee racing season for thoroughbreds comes when they are 3 years old. Horses can start racing as early as 2, and 3 is like their coming out party. This dates back to the original Derby, pronounced Derby, in England in 1780, when Edward Stanley, the 12th Earl of Derby, organized a race for 3-year-old horses on his estate at Epsom Downs and won a coin flip to name the race after himself. Being relatively young at 3 years old, the horses in the Triple Crown are still maturing. They're asked to do something they'll likely never do again: run at longer distances than any of them have raced to that point in their careers. 1.25 miles for the Kentucky Derby, 1 3/16 for the Preakness, and a marathon 1.5 miles for the Belmont, one lap of the racetrack with the biggest circumference in North America. They're asked to run 3 races in 5 weeks, 2 weeks between the Derby and Preakness, and 3 weeks between the Preakness and Belmont. That's something that horses used to do more frequently. For example, look at the first Triple Crown winner, Sir Barton, in 1919. Sir Barton was a maiden, the term for winless horses, when he entered the Kentucky Derby. Although Sir Barton was supposed to be a pacemaker for a more highly regarded stablemate, jockey Johnny Loftus took Sir Barton to the front and never looked back to win the Derby. Just 4 days later, Sir Barton led every yard for victory in the Preakness. He won another race 10 days later, before taking the Belmont 2 weeks after that. Although the most prestigious series in horse racing was not called the Triple Crown at the time, the term wouldn't be in vogue until journalist Charles Hatton applied it to the next horse to win all 3 races, Gallant Fox, in 1930. Gallant Fox then went on to sire the following Triple Crown winner, Omaha, in 1935. But today's thoroughbreds are built for speed. They have more time between races. Since a firm last won the Triple Crown in 1978, 14 horses, including American Pharoah this year, have won the Derby and Preakness. For the previous 13 of them, the Belmont track, affectionately known as Big Sandy, was the place where Triple Crown dreams have faded away. But on one magical day in June 1973, a horse nicknamed Big Red conquered Big Sandy. Secretariat put an exclamation point on arguably the greatest 3-race stretch in horse racing history by setting track records in the Kentucky Derby and Preakness and then a world record that still stands for 1.5 miles on dirt in a 31-length performance of perfection in the Belmont. Like Bob Beamon, the world record holder in the long jump in the 1968 Olympics, everything came together in Secretariat's Belmont win, to the point that jockey Ron Turcotte could feel Secretariat's heart between his legs, as fans could wonder whether they were seeing the modern reincarnation of the mythological Pegasus. The New York Racing Association has granted Arapahoe Park permission to show you the 1973 Belmont, a race that almost every horse racing fan has seen, but watches with the same wide eyes as if seeing the race for the first time. And later in the episode, Penny Chenery, Secretariat's owner who lives in Boulder, Colorado, looks back on Secretariat's performance. But first, a chance for you to look back and ponder what it will take for American Pharoah to accomplish the most difficult feat in sports. The legendary Chick Anderson delivers horse racing's most famous call.
Belmont 6. Everybody's in line, and they're off. Looks like the early lead goes to My Gallant. Yes, My Gallant going for the lead with Twice the Prince on the outside. Secretariat away very well, has good position on the rail, and in fact is now going up with the leader. They're moving for the first turn. It is Secretariat. Sham on the outside is also moving along strongly. And now it's Sham. Sham and Secretariat are right together into the first turn. My Gallant has third behind them. Then it's Twice the Prince, and the trailer is Private Smiles as they go by the turn. Those two together, Sham on the outside. Sham getting ahead in front as they move around the turn with Secretariat second. Then there's a large gap. Make it 8 lengths back to My Gallant in third and Twice the Prince fourth. And Private Smiles is still the trailer. They're on the backstretch. It's almost a match race now. Secretariat's on the inside, by ahead. Sham is on the outside. They've opened 10 lengths on My Gallant, who is third by ahead, with Twice the Prince fourth. Then it's another 8 lengths back to Private Smiles, who is trailing the field. They continue down the backstretch, and that's Secretariat now taking the lead. He's got it by about 1.5 lengths. Still Sham, 10 lengths back. My Gallant, Twice the Prince. They're moving on the turn now. For the turn at Secretariat. He looks like he's opening. The lead is increasing. Make it 3.5. He's moving into the turn. Secretariat holding on to a large lead. Sham is second, and then it's a long way back to My Gallant and Twice the Prince. They're on the turn. Secretariat is blazing along. The first 3/4 of a mile in 1:09 4/5. Secretariat is widening now. He is moving like a tremendous machine. Secretariat by 12. Secretariat by 14 lengths on the turn. Sham is dropping back. It looks like they'll catch him today as My Gallant and Twice the Prince are both coming up to him now. But Secretariat is all alone. He's out there almost a 1/16 of a mile away from the rest of the horses. Secretariat is in a position that is impossible to catch. He's into the stretch. Secretariat leads his field by 18 lengths. And now Twice the Prince is taken second, and My Gallant is moved back to third. They're in the stretch. Secretariat has opened a 22-length lead. He is going to be the Triple Crown winner. Here comes Secretariat to the wire. An unbelievable, an amazing performance. He hits the finish 25 lengths in front. It's going to be Twice the Prince second, My Gallant third, Private Smiles fourth, and Sham, who had it today, dropped back to fifth. An amazing, unbelievable performance by this miracle horse. And look at Mrs. Sweetie. She's having the time of her life.
Gates Open at Arapahoe Park is presented by the His Highness Sheikh Mansour bin Zayed Al Nahyan Global Arabian Horse Flat Racing Festival. On the edge of glory in the Watford Stud Farm Cup, and Breezal LZP with Carlo Lopez looking over the shoulder for the competition that hasn't emerged yet. With races in 11 countries, the Watford Stud Farm Cup will be held at Arapahoe Park on May 24th, July 5th, and August 9th. Behind the growth of horse racing in Colorado, the Colorado Horse Racing Association, the Colorado Thoroughbred Breeders Association, the Rocky Mountain Quarter Horse Association, Colorado Owners and Breeders of Racing Arabians, Cantor, Colorado, finding new homes for retired racehorses. In 2013, I had the opportunity to visit with the owner of Secretariat, Penny Chenery, at her apartment in Boulder to relive one of the greatest moments in horse racing history on the 40th anniversary of Secretariat's Triple Crown. In her 90s, she still remains the first lady of horse racing and a big supporter of racing in Colorado and at Arapahoe Park, where she has attended the races over the years.
To own this most magnificent animal who has today run the most sensational Belmont Stakes in the...
40 years ago, Secretariat won the Belmont Stakes by 31 lengths in a time of 2 minutes, 24 seconds. That is still the world record for a 1.5 miles on dirt. In honor of the Ruby anniversary of Big Red's Triple Crown, we visit with Secretariat's owner, Penny Chenery, at her home in Boulder. How often have you watched the race since 1973?
Countless times. I watch it and I kind of choke up even today because it's such a perfect moment. He was a beautiful horse, and he pretty much set his pace. Ronnie's not in control. Secretary's running this race. I'm nervous only because he's never run that far before, and I'm confused because he's going to the lead now. He's on the rail, and he's gone up to engage what's his name? Sham. And it was interesting. I was very fond of Sham's owner, and I thought they'd been just grand. And so now Sham's got a half length on him, and I'm thinking, well, maybe it's all right. Maybe it's time for Sham to have his moment. But now Secretariat's pulled up with him, and now he's a neck ahead. But I would like to say they're in sync, but they're not. Secretariat's stride was longer than Sham's. He got more air time, and so now I'm looking at maybe a 4-length lead, and the horse is just cruising. Pinkai has gone to the whip on poor old Sham, who's now about 8 lengths ahead, and it's clear that Sham has no prayer of catching him, and Secretary is just cruising. Most people can quote that to me, quote that call. He's moving now like a tremendous machine.
Secretariat is widening now. He is moving like a tremendous machine. Secretariat by 12. Secretariat by 14 lengths on the turn. Sham is dropping back.
I never can look at the other horses. I know they're always back there, but I'm just, oh, and there's Ronnie turning around to see how far back they are, and then in the stretch, he's just in his zone. And Luciano, my trainer, he said, "Now just don't fall off, Ronnie. Don't fall off," because that was the only thing that could have beaten him.
25 lengths in front.
What was your relation like?
I was excited, but the crowd was going crazy, and I wanted to relate to the crowd. I love the connection with the crowd. The horse can't talk, so I can. That's why I did this.
How do you want people to look back 40 years ago and see your role as Secretariat's owner?
I got lucky. You know, my role as an owner, the thing is, Secretariat was a ham. He loved the attention, and so was I. I loved the attention. And so I really milked it for all it was worth.
Now you have female owners, female trainers, female jockeys competing at the top of the sport. What opportunities does horse racing offer to women?
Women can do anything in racing that men can do. And now we have women jockeys. I thought Rosie Nepravnik, she ran a great race. Horse racing really is gender neutral if you want to involve yourself in it. My father told me as I was growing up, I could achieve anything I wanted to if I was willing to work hard enough. And that certainly applies to women in racing.
Live horse racing at Arapahoe Park takes place from May 22nd to August 16th on Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays, starting at 1 p.m.
Gates open, the Miles Massey Handicap is underway.
Keep up with the latest online at myhighracing.com, on Facebook at facebook.com/Arapahoe Racing, and on Twitter at JJ Horowitz.
Miss Dixie and Lil Rich Girl in a photo finish that goes to Miss Dixie, holding on by the narrowest of margins.
While the national horse racing spotlight will be on the Belmont, the local spotlight will be on the speed of quarter horses this weekend at Arapahoe Park. The best Colorado-bred 2-year-old quarter horse a year ago, Toshiyoshi, is the fastest qualifier heading into Saturday's Lucille Rowe Derby.
Gates open, the second trial is underway, and even beginning with El Carboncito getting off to a flying start. Feel this moment, baby, to the outside, and now Toshiyoshi starting to kick into gear along the rail, and here's Toshiyoshi coming through for Ramiro Garcia, grabbing the lead from El Carboncito and drawing away for a daylight win.
3 Olives in Smoke is the fastest qualifier heading into Sunday's Cherry Creek Futurity, a race that both his mother and older sister have won.
Gates open, the second trial is underway. A beautiful beginning for 3 Olives in Smoke on the inside, with Bangarang also challenging. And then down the center comes La Santita Corona. It's 3 Olives in Smoke, who's much the best and going on to win easily, storming away. An impressive victory.
In addition to the quarter horse trials, the opening week of the season featured one of the most competitive quarter horse races you'll ever see, with 7 horses in the photo finish of the Dash for Speed Bonus Challenge.
Gates open, the Dash for Speed Bonus Challenge is underway, with Himalaya Jess getting off to a good start. Miss Carver the Gray to the outside, and then comes cruising down the extreme outside. Midori and Smoke running a strong race on the inside with Rock That Wagon. It's wide open. Stella Surprise is coming through, a blanket finish. Any one of 7 horses spread out across the track. Those 7 horses are Rock That Wagon, Stella Surprise, Midori and Smoke, You See Me Streaking, Himalaya Jess, I'm Bo Brown, and Cruisin'. A tremendous finish in the Dash for Speed Bonus Challenge, and definitely need the photo to sort that one out.
Rock That Wagon won the race for the 2nd year in a row, with 4 noses, a neck, and a head separating the top 7. For thoroughbreds, Wally Van defended his title in the Arapahoe Park Sprint.
About to turn for home in the Arapahoe Park Sprint, and it's Mr. Wild Kitty in a dogfight with Alley Oop Oop to the outside, and then comes Wally Van and Ghost Vapors, a furlong to the finish. Anyone's race in the Arapahoe Park Sprint. Ghost Vapors charging up on the outside, Wally Van trying to squeeze through. Alley Oop Oop along the inside, Mr. Wild Kitty and Sylvanas. Here's Wally Van putting his best foot forward, and Wally Van goes on to the win, defends his title in the Arapahoe Park Sprint.
And for Arabians, Miss Dixie picked up right where she left off last year by cruising in her Colorado homecoming.
The Scott Powell trained runners bookend the field as Miss Dixie goes to the front for Carlo Lopez. Into the far turn with a 1.5 length advantage, being pursued by TM Madame in second. In the orange silks, one off the fence on the outside of My Vaz is Hot. Sand on Fire is making up ground into 4th place, 5 lengths behind Miss Dixie. And then comes Miss Paradise, followed further back by Zell's Follies. RV Roulette and TM It's Just a Ride. With a quarter mile to go, and Miss Dixie, the 3-time Darley Award winner, Carlo Lopez with a long look over the shoulder and has 3 lengths to spare on TM Madame chasing in second, and then Sand on Fire in third place. Racing to the final furlong, and it's Miss Dixie strutting her stuff. Poetry in motion for Miss Dixie. Inside the final furlong, she's racing away in a class by herself. One of them has lost the rider at the rear of the field. All eyes on Miss Dixie coming to the line, much the best.
I'm joined by Jamie Gerard, the Executive Director of Canter, Colorado. Canter's an organization that finds new homes for horses after they finish their racing careers. And Arapahoe Park and Canter each week will profile a horse in his new career in a segment that we like to call Beyond the Finish Line. Jamie, thank you for joining me. And before we talk about the horse Hold the Advantage that we're watching race here from Arapahoe Park in 2011, the Triple Crown, the Belmont Stakes on Saturday, is this the year that we see history with American Pharoah?
I think it is. I think it was an exciting race, both the Kentucky Derby and yesterday's Preakness Stakes. I think this will be the year we see it. I hope so.
And the Belmont Stakes being a marathon race and Hold the Advantage being a marathon horse. Now, he was one of my favorite horses to announce, and I can speak to his racing career and you can speak to his new career after racing. When he raced, he had a long career, 7 years, up until last year, and he raced 61 times, 4 wins. Now, even though he only won 4 times, each of his wins, and one of them that you'll see here, was quite dramatic. He won by an average margin of 14 lengths. He was a horse that won the Norman White Distance Marathon, the 1 3/4 race that Arapahoe Park runs at the end of the season twice. And that's one of the longest races in the United States. So in a day where horse racing is building towards speed, Hold the Advantage was a horse who really showed a lot of stamina, really showed a lot of character on the track. And as you'll see, as we're talking about the horse, he totally dominated that race and put away the competition. Now, after he finishes racing, he joins Canter, Colorado. What is he like up close and in person, especially now that he's finished his racing?
Yeah, when we first took him off the track, he was still very much into his competitive racehorse mentality. He hadn't settled down from the track. He was looking for what's up next, and kind of actually hard to get to know at first. It took about 3 or 4 weeks before he realized he wasn't going back to the track. He could relax, he could settle into his new environment, and really then just start focusing on a new career.
And what is his new career now?
He's working towards in the hunter-jumper world, and he's working on the flat and going through any rehabilitation that he's needed to do.
And for those of us who focus on the racing, seeing a racehorse being in hunter-jumper, it's a totally new spectacle. What does it look like? I mean, we're watching his racing, but what would Hold the Advantage be doing now in the hunter-jumper world?
A lot of times when they transition into new careers, they need to realize there's 4 different gaits a horse has. It doesn't go from stop to gallop at full speed. So a lot of times there's ground manner training, and there's working on the flat, and then introducing new obstacles and seeing if he's interested in going over jumps, if that's exciting, if that's something new and challenging.
Well, we'll show you as we leave you on this show with Hold the Advantage racing at full speed, and we'll also leave you with a clip of Hold the Advantage when he transferred to being in the pasture for the first time after racing. For Jamie Gerard, I'm Jonathan Horowitz. Until your next time out at the racetrack, keep picking winners.
Kelly Bridges takes a peep over his shoulder, kind of like Ron Turcotte did aboard Secretariat in the 1973 Belmont, and it's Hold the Advantage who's racing away and going on to defend his title in the Norman White Distance Marathon. He's miles ahead of Hunt in a Halo, chasing in second place, and then followed back by Such a Deal. But as they come to the line, Hold the Advantage, the longer the better. And